In this question, we have a boat at point M. There's a cliff on a bearing of 250 degrees from point M with an angle of elevation of 10 degrees here. Then the boat travels to point N. So at point N, the cliff is on a bearing of 0 degrees with an angle of elevation of 12 degrees. We want to find the distance Cn and the angle MCN, this angle here, as well as the distance MN, this length here. To start with, we have 3 triangles in this question. Triangle NCD and the triangle MCD, as well as the triangle MNC. So we can use the triangle NCD to find the distance Cn. We can then use the triangle MCD to find the distance MC. So afterwards, we can then use the triangle MNC to find the distance MN. So that's actually how we are going to approach for this question. We'll start by looking at the triangle NCD. So let me draw the triangle NCD over here. The good news is that this is a right angle triangle. The question tells you the height of the cliff is 44.6 meters. So this is 44.6. The angle of elevation at point N is 12 degrees. Do you need to use sine rule or cosine rule to solve this triangle? Not necessary, because this is a right angle triangle directly. We can use Dokaso. We want to find the distance Cn, which is the adjacent side of this angle 12 degrees. And we know the opposite side of this 12 degrees. So clearly, we'll be using the tangent of this 12 degrees. So tangent 12 degrees is nothing but CD over Cn. So I'll make the Cn the subject of this equation. So that goes this way. Cn will be just equal to CD divided by tangent 12 degrees. We can then plug in the value for CD. That's 44.6. So you can press a calculator. The distance Cn will be simply equal to 209.83 meters. You can leave your answer in 3SF. So 210 meter. Answer. By the same argument, we can then use the triangle MCD to find us the side of CM. So again, we need to draw out MCD, this triangle. The good news is that MCD is still a right angle triangle, and we are given this angle of elevation at point M is 10 degrees, and the height of the cliff is still 44.6. So can you find the distance Cn on your own? Again, we need to use tangent of this 10 degrees to help me calculate the distance Cm. Tangent 10 degrees is equal to CD over Cm. I'll make the Cm the subject of this equation. So Cm, that will be equal to CD over tangent 10 degrees. We can then plug in the value for CD, 44.6. So you can then press a calculator. CD will be equal to 252.94 meters. You can leave your answer in 3SF as well. So 253 meter. Now we have the length of CN and the length of CM already. It's time for us to focus on the triangle M and C. Since the bearing information is given, so the best view for this triangle M and C is still the top view. So now the first step is to draw the top view of this triangle M and C. So the bolt starts at this point M, and this is the north direction at point M. The question tells you the bearing of the cliff from point M is 250 degrees. So that means to say this line down here is MC. So this is my point C, and this angle down here will be 250 degrees. Then this bolt travels to point M. So assuming this is my point M, the question tells you that the bearing of the cliff from point M is 0 degrees. That means to say this point C is just directly above point N. So let me connect CN, and notice that this line CN is parallel with this north direction at point M. So now let's gather all the information we know about this triangle M and C. We know the distance CN is 209.83. We also have calculated the distance CM is 252.94. Now within this triangle, we need to look for the angle MCN as well as the distance MN. So let me highlight the targets in yellow. Can you find this angle C on your own first? The bearing of C from M is 250 degrees. So this orange angle, 250. That means to say this green angle here is 360 minus 250. So that will be 110 degrees. And notice that this CN and this north direction at point M are parallel with each other. So this green angle and this green angle are alternate angles. So that means to say this angle MCN is also 110 degrees. Last thing we need to find is the distance MN. So quite obviously, we know CN already. We know CM already. We also know the included angle. So we can easily use the cosine rule to find this MN. So the cosine rule goes this way. MN square, that will be equal to CN square plus CM square minus 2CN CM cosine of the included angle, that's 110 degrees. Then we can plug in the values. Here CN is 209.83 square. CM here is 252.94 square. Here 209.83. Here 252.94. So press a calculator, you can find the answer for MN. Please do not forget to take the square root. Your MN will be equal to 379.88 meters. That is approximately 380 meters. 3SF. Answer.